Hi, it's Alaska Granny. When we're prepping for emergencies, we tend to think of the basics. We need to stockpile food, water, first aid supplies. We need some hygiene, sanitation supplies. We need to have some tools, shelter, and things like a bug out bag. Every emergency doesn't have to mean an evacuation or a life-changing event. It could be as simple as a missing button or a torn hem. One of the areas of preparedness you need to think about for prepping for everyday emergencies that could happen to you and your family is a simple sewing kit. Being able to stitch that loose button, fix that falling hem, mend a simple tear are skills that we need to develop. We need to be able on a day-to-day basis to take care of the things that we have so that our day and our life runs as smoothly as possible. Here are the items that I think are essential to put together in a simple sewing kit. You can start with something as simple as a sewing kit from the Dollar Tree. It has all kinds of components already in it. The sewing kit begins with a nice little zipper pouch. It's sturdy and waterproof, and then you can see it's loaded with all kinds of items. First of all, it has a whole set of needles. There's all kinds of needles in here. There's a tape measure. Open the little box and you can find buttons, straight pins, and 2 colors of safety pins in lots of different sizes. There's a needle threader, a little pair of scissors, and a little thimble to help you push a needle through thick fabric. Then look at the colors of thread. There's 2, 4, 6 spools of thread, and they're in a nice variety of colors. Let's check out these little scissors. I'm unwinding some of the thread. And look at that. The scissors will actually cut the thread. Do you know how to use this needle threader? You go to your pack of needles and there's a little notch here, and you turn this around until you get to the top where there's a little slot for the needles, and then you pour one of them out. Then turn this back so your other needles don't fall out. Now you take your needle threader and you say, oh my goodness, that hole is so little, the eye of the needle is so small. So you take this little metal threader and you push it through the hole in the needle, and now you can put your thread in that threader. It's way easier to put it through that, and then you pull it through and you've easily threaded your needle no matter how small the eye of your needle is, and you're ready to sew. This is a great little kit. It's only $1, comes all packed in a nice little bag, and it can fix a lot of the emergencies that you have on an everyday basis. While the Dollar Tree sewing kit is a good beginning, there are a few other basic sewing tools that everyone should probably put together and have in their home. Whether you have a sewing basket, you put it in a plastic shoebox, or any kind of container that you have around the house. The point is to gather the things together, label them as your sewing equipment, and then when you have something you need to sew, you can quickly get out your sewing kit, fix it, and your life goes on the way it was. One of the strategies to keeping things mended and in good repair is have a spot where you put things, and these are the pile of things that need to be mended. Then when you have a few minutes, get out your sewing kit, mend those items, put them away. But in an emergency, if you have a missing button and you're ready to rush out the door, you can also go to your sewing kit. You know immediately where you have a needle, thread, and some scissors. You can reattach the button in just a minute. If you don't know where those supplies are, or you don't have them, a missing button can be a huge embarrassment or cause you to waste time trying to figure out what to wear instead. Let's just avoid those situations by putting together a sewing kit. Get a nice pair of sewing scissors. Scissors that you choose for sewing should be set aside just for cutting fabric. Once you start using scissors to cut paper, they're not going to cut fabric effectively. And if you need to shorten a pair of pants, turn some long pants into short pants, trim things, you need a pair of sharp scissors. They don't have to be expensive. It's also nice to have a small pair of craft scissors. They're great for trimming loose threads and cutting your thread after you've been sewing something small. Get a selection of basic thread the colors of most of your clothing. If you have basic colors, black, navy, white, brown, gray, basic threads that match your wardrobe, it's far easier and faster to quickly mend something that needs repair. When you buy new clothes and they have that little packet with the button, put that button in your sewing kit. Sometimes it even comes with matching thread in case you need to stitch something on that garment. If you put those things away in your sewing kit when you buy a new item, then if it ever needs repaired, you don't have to wonder, where did that button go? You know to go to your sewing kit. I like a seam ripper for making easy repairs. It's a sharp little pointed end. You can easily take the seam ripper and remove stitches that are in the wrong place. It's right at them, far easier than a pair of scissors. A sewing ruler or gauge helps you measure little areas to show you where you want to make a hem. You can take the little ruler, measure it along evenly, pin where you're going to sew. A few other items for mending of rips and tears are iron-on patches and iron-on seam binding. Heat up an iron, fuse fabrics together, or patch them with iron-on patches that already have the fabric with the fuse backing on them. You don't need a lot of items or a big expense to gather some sewing gear. So take a look at all these items, get the ones that you think would be most important to you, put them together in a sewing basket, a sewing box, and be ready to face any wardrobe emergencies that come your way. Learn more at alaskagranny.com. Please subscribe to the Alaska Granny channel.